Do you hear that? It's like a really high trilling noise. I bet you can't guess what kind of animal that is. It lives in the pond. In the spring it comes to the pond, rather, because it actually lives in the forest. But every spring they hop down from the forest back here to the pond to lay their eggs. Can you guess? There's two different kinds of amphibians right here. This one, I can't see it. He's so camouflaged, I can't even hardly see him. He's an American toad. That's the ones that you hear trilling. And then over here, just beyond that blade of grass, is a green frog. Green frogs and American toads, they're both amphibians that lay their eggs here at Ellingbo Pond, and they start their life cycle right here too. So I caught one. Oh, come on. This is the American toad, Bufo americanus. And they're pretty amazing. Well, it's an adult, right? And they have this amazing coloration here that helps them to blend in both in the pond and also in the woods. They've got webbed feet. I don't know if you can see the webbed feet. Come on, give me your little footsies. There you go. Big webbed feet for pushing the water when they swim. And strong legs as he's kicking me. But do you see these little glands on the back of his head? Those are called parotid glands, and they contain like a milky white substance that they can secrete, and it actually would poison a dog or something that tried to eat it. So not very many things can actually eat toads because of that poison gland. Do you notice where their eyes are? Their eyes are on the tops of their heads because they can sit entirely underneath the water, but their eyes are on top so they can still look around and hide from predators like things like great blue herons. It's easy to see how toads can be classified as amphibians because the word amphibious means both land and water. And they can hop on the land in the forest, and with those big hind webbed feet, they are good swimmers too. Those toads look like they're riding piggyback. That's called amplexus. The female is laying the eggs, and the male fertilizes the eggs. And that's how we get baby toads. In fact, these toads have already started laying their eggs. Can you see the long strings of gelatinous eggs? One female toad can lay thousands of eggs. That little black dot in the middle is the developing tadpole. It gets longer and starts to wiggle, and soon you can see there's a head side and a tail side. And they start to grow and develop in the egg for about 13 to 14 days before they wiggle free. And as they wiggle free, they start to move their tail, and their heads get bigger, and their eyes and their brains develop, and they're breathing through gills at this point. They don't have any lungs, but as they get bigger and they eat dead plants and even some maybe some small insects, then their tail goes away, they grow 4 legs, and they move to the land where they hop about and continue to eat insects and continue to grow into the American toad that we recognize. Even our education animals here at the school forest are starting new life cycles. This is Claude and Claudia, our African clawed frogs, who were gifted to us by a former student named Seth. And this morning we came down and we discovered all of these white dots all over the aquarium. Do you know what they could be? Yeah, eggs, you're right. Clawed frogs metamorphosize much like our toads do. There's a tadpole stage before they morph into the adult. There's lots of little animals in this pond cup. We've got a dragonfly nymph right there. We've got a mayfly nymph right here. We have a damselfly nymph right there. Another mayfly that just got dumped in right there. And all of those mayfly, damselfly, and dragonfly start out as eggs at the pond, go through a nymph stage. When a dragonfly or damselfly or mayfly get bigger, they molt, which means they grow out of their exoskeleton and they leave it behind. Then they grow up into the adults, and then they can live on land and even fly. The other little critter that you can see wiggling around in here, that one right there, that goes all crazy when you touch it, that's a mosquito. Mosquito babies don't look anything like the adults. They look like little caterpillars or little worms that we call larvae. Then they pupate, and after they pupate, then they hatch with wings where the adult flies around, and the females will try to bite you and get your blood so they can lay more eggs. Look at this life cycle. This is one of our pond snails. And if you look, the grown-up snail is cruising along, and right next to her is a baby pond snail. When snails lay eggs, they hatch as miniature adults. Hey, we found these earthworms at Boston School Forest. Earthworms hatch from eggs, and the hatchlings look just like miniature adults. Where are you going?
Kind of like a round ball.
This is another cool animal that has a great life cycle that happens here at the school forest. This is a caterpillar disguised as a stick. It's like an inchworm. Should we take a look at part of its life cycle? Inchworm caterpillars are types of moths. They follow the same type of life cycle that butterflies do, except when they go from their caterpillar to their adult stage, we call it pupating. There's many different types of inchworms, brown ones, green worms, but they all turn into Geometridae moths. And then there are some types of caterpillars that people don't like. This is the eastern tent caterpillar. The moth lays eggs on a branch, and they make a big silk web around themselves as they start to grow. When they crawl out, they can eat all the leaves off of a single tree. And then there are some baby animals. I have no idea what they could be. It's a larva of some kind, and we found it in the garden beds. How do I find out what it grows up to be? I used both a field guide and the internet to learn that these are baby crane flies. Crane flies look like giant mosquitoes, but they prefer to feed on nectar from flowers. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and that's all there is for this year for Mystery Science from Boston School Forest. It has been so much fun to make these videos for you. Thank you for those of you who've emailed me to ask me questions or to let me know what you've observed in your backyard. We're excited to say that we've got an educational enrichment grant for some camera equipment and accessories, so that we're looking forward to bringing you all videos next school year as well, and giving you kids in the Stevens Point School District an opportunity to ask us questions at Boston School Forest, and we'll do our best to answer those with weekly videos that give you a snapshot of what's going on at Boston School Forest. I encourage you to spend the summer outside, bring a grown-up with you, play games outside, look around your neighborhood, and be more curious and get to know the wildlife and the plants in your own backyard. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for your teachers for sharing this great resource. A big thanks to Miss Wonsarski for writing the stories that go along with the activities on the videos each week. Happy summer. Bye.